Hi, welcome back. Flipping the script and stuff. I think we're on episode 29, I think
Oh
is
my
what was.
God. I lost track. It's been so long we haven't been on, so I forgot our number.
I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well,
I don't even have.
do any of us know what we're doing here? I think that's the point.
Yeah, no. No.
I think if you do know, then you're either, really advanced or lying to
From
yourself.
here. Not from here.
Yeah, no, I get moments where I'm like, okay, I know what I'm meant to do right now, but overall scheme of things, no, I definitely don't know the big picture, and I think there's a reason for that.
There is. I mean, I've been we're getting used to like just kind of flying by the seat of our pants, you know. We were used to getting paid every week and then every other week or twice a month. And now we're used to getting paid by the job. And it's just something new for us. Even me, like my coaching, um, which is awesome. I have a couple I'm coaching. I'm excited. And they came back. So that's a good thing,
Yeah,
right?
that is a good thing.
So yeah, yeah, it's true. So much has happened since we were here last, you know?
Mhm.
I don't even think I'm the same person. I
I know,
probably.
it's been a growth process, and I did a lot of deep diving into shadow work over the summertime. My daughter was home. We took a vacation to my hometown, where I got to face a lot of my childhood traumas and do a lot of energy work, healing them for the first time since I've been, awakened. I haven't been back home. So it was the first opportunity I had to really go to those locations, set some new intentions, clear away some of the things, and also forgive myself, forgive those situations, forgive the people involved, but most of all, forgiving myself. That was the most important thing because, as a child, when trauma happened to me, I then, my response was then to repeat it to myself, to torture myself, to punish myself as though I deserved this kind of thing. And so I got into this cycle of punishing myself for things that I didn't even do, and becoming this victim and living in this cycle of pain towards myself, and hurting. And we don't deserve to live that way. Just because someone did something shitty to us doesn't mean that we need to continue doing shitty things to ourselves. But for some reason, that was my natural response to it. And so I am working on doing things a little bit differently because that's not the way I want to live anymore.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I did the same thing. I literally punished myself for being myself. I punished myself. And see, that's the thing. Unfortunately, I had autism and ADHD, and it was undetected until I was 45. I'm the one that cared enough, honestly, to do the research and to pay attention and to put the pieces together. And I did. I found out I had ADHD and autism. So I would probably, I mean, typical person with ADHD has a meltdown, you know. And unfortunately, if you don't understand the dynamic, you think that person or child is acting out when they're not really acting out. You know, they're experiencing some kind of overwhelm, you know. And I unfortunately was extremely sensitive, so I experienced overwhelm a lot, and I believe I was punished for experience overwhelm, you know. And also I had what Teal Swan. I know not everybody's a fan, but I learned some really, really good stuff from her over the summer. But one of the things I learned was doll syndrome. And what that meant, what that was to me, was when my parents wanted me, they would dress me up and take me out and show me off. I was a doll to look at. It was awesome. I don't know, I guess I made them look like a family,
Mm-hmm.
or I made them look good. I know I made them feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was great because at that point, I mean, when that happens, I'm the center of attention, and I get all the attention, you know? But then unfortunately, the time passes and I'm put away. Like I'm put back on the shelf,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's when I'm ignored. I'm just I don't exist. I didn't exist, you know, and this stuff didn't come up until after I started treatment again. Not treatment, but therapy. I go to counseling, and so that's a lot. This is what I've been working on myself. I've been working on myself all summer too. So basically shadow work, just working on myself, um, looking at things that I need to look at, dealing with uh, trauma and triggers that need to be dealt with. Because if I'm triggered by something, it's my responsibility to take care of that trigger. You know, it's not anyone else's job to change to make me happy, you know? And I feel like, yeah, I'm like a completely different person, but yeah, I did that same stuff to myself. Like I deserve to be punished or something, you know? Like,
Yeah, we have to break that mindset, that programming that, you know, somebody didn't see me worthy, so therefore I'm not worthy. Our value isn't based on what other people think of us or how other people treat us. And, the world, of course, isn't going to value us the way that we need to value ourselves. Um, that's something that I've really had to learn, is to put myself first and to value myself, and that when someone is treating me unlovingly, to set boundaries, remove myself from the situation, state my needs, to do a lot of things that we're not we don't naturally know how to do these things. We're not taught these things at all. We're taught to bury our feelings and to run and use other things to hide from these feelings, and have to be happy all the time. And it's like, no, we have to be authentic all the time. We need to feel our feelings. It's not about changing how we feel. Yeah, we can change how we feel, but are we doing it in a positive, healthy way, or are we doing it in a destructive, unhealthy way? And a lot of what's been taught to me has been to do those destructive, unhealthy coping skills. They are skills. Using alcohol, using drugs, focusing on other people, focusing on things you can't control, eating too much, becoming dependent on medications, that kind of thing. That's what we're taught to deal with our thing, what's going on. It's treating the symptoms and not treating the source.
exactly.
So for me, it's about getting to the root of the issue, putting out that fire instead of just putting out the sparks. When the firework goes off, we're focused on where it's sparking and where it's hitting. We're not focused on where that firework is shooting off from, and who's shooting the firework off. It's usually ourselves. And then we run around like a crazy person putting out sparks instead of dealing with, why do we keep lighting this fuse? Why do we
Yeah,
keep allowing this fuse to be lit? Because a lot of the things we go, well, I didn't choose that. I didn't do that. I don't want that. But what are we doing to perpetuate that? What are we doing to stay in that cycle of repetitive behavior that we're not changing? What can we look at that we can do different? Because, even talking to a friend of mine who's a psychic, she said that, she gives percentages in her readings, because things are based on decisions that other people are making, you're making, everyone's making. So that tells me that we all have choices. Our future is not set in stone. Can't predict exactly what's going to happen because it's all based on our decisions. It's
yes,
not written yet. So one small thing, whether it's choosing to go down a different road when you're driving to pick your kid up from school, choosing to wear a different pair of shoes, to wear a different outfit that day, or put on something to make yourself feel good. Take a bath instead of a shower. Go walk in the rain instead of sheltering inside. There are little things that you can do individually that can change the outcome of everything. So we have to start at the small things and then work our way up. So everything can be can be different. If we choose to change those things, we can look at the path like, okay, this is what society says, this is what the world says is going to happen, this is what other people are telling me is going to happen, but is this what I want to happen? And no, a lot of the shitty things that have happened in my past, if I known that I had that power to change them, no, I wouldn't have chose them. So we have a lot of power when it comes to our future. We have all the power when it comes to our future. We are
Absolutely.
not victims anymore as long as we're aware of that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Everything you said, and like you were saying, we are creatures of habit, and we get into repetition. And what people have been calling it is going on to autopilot. We do things every single day the same way. Every day we wake up, set the alarm, right? Turn the alarm off, go to the bathroom, brush our teeth, get our coffee, whatever, the same thing every day. Go to work on 9 to 5, come home, cook dinner, whatever it is, but we're doing the same thing every day, every day, every day. And we end up being on autopilot. We are such creatures of habit that it's so easy. And once we are in that habit, we can check out mentally. We can disassociate because our body's on autopilot.
Yeah.
We can literally just check
It's
out.
almost like it's set up on purpose that way so that we do that instead of paying attention and being aware and being in the moment. And it's easier to manipulate people who are on autopilot because they're not paying attention.
They're used to being told what to do. So when I was just talking to my therapist about this earlier, people are so used to that programming and conditioning. And yes, the system is set up that way. We're all being gaslit by the system. The system is narcissistic. Once you understand that the entire system is narcissistic, then you can start understanding your place within it. And once you can start observing that you literally have a place within this, whatever, this life, this matrix, right? It's that attention that you give yourself that gives your power back. And you're like, wait a minute. Why am I doing the same stuff over? It's not fulfilling. I'm not happy. Why am I not happy? I'm doing what I've been told. It's not adding up. And unfortunately, right now during the Great Awakening, people are now realizing that their habits, drinking, sex, working all the time, it's not working like it used to. It's not fulfilling anymore. In fact, it's not working. They're not able to plug in like they used to. They're not able to disassociate like they used to. And that's because we're literally ascending, and the vibration of people are raising, whether they're realizing it or not. Now, not everyone, because we can see the divide. We can see the people that are affected, that are on the other side, that are just they're not connecting. There's something off, and we know what that is, but there's just not connecting. And so,
well, I think there can be moments of connection and they choose, no, I don't want that. Because I know for me personally, I can choose, I can choose to stay in negativity and I can choose to stay in a low vibration, but I don't want to. But that's a personal choice, and I have to work really hard to make those choices differently because it's so easy to go back into that. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
yeah, and just like you were saying, just do something out of the ordinary for yourself. So, I don't know, let's just say you take 5th Street to work, take 6th Street, buy yourself a cup of coffee instead of making one in the morning.
Or make one instead of buying one, vice versa.
Vice versa. Yeah, change things up. I think I touched on this in a video a while back. It just sounds really familiar. We don't need to be repeating trauma, all right? So what's happening is people are repeating trauma, and it's not fulfilling. People are starting to wake up. The Great Awakening is happening. There's literally 9-month plus waiting lists at psychiatrist's office, where I go. 9 months. It's probably more than that now. So I started putting myself out there coaching because people are looking for help and they're not quite sure. They're starting to wake up. They're not connected to the matrix like they used to be. And it's a good thing, because everything that's happening is helping wake them up, and the dark's agenda isn't working as they planned because people are waking up.
Yeah.
It's waking
Well,
people up.
the distractions that they've set up to keep everybody's attention, now we can see through them, and it's almost comical to the level of detail that they go through and the planning that they put in. From, I mean, let's just say painting certain colors, months in advance, and that we're not, the people aren't paying attention. I'm not going to get into specific issues because we are on a certain
We have
platform that you'll be penalized if you talk about these certain things. But there's just distractions in mind that that you can see very clearly through. And when someone is talking to me out in public, I can tell where they're at based on where they believe these, how they perceive these events that are happening. And then I can navigate, is that someone that I need to have around me, because they're very much um, in the program, in the system, in the matrix.
so
And
I
so it gives a clear divide for me to see, okay, I can plant my seeds, I can do my spiritual work, but I don't need to go chase, because I used to go chasing after people. Oh, you need to, tell them all of this stuff. And they're not going to listen. They're not going to hear it. You can plant seeds in a different way, just by living in a different way. But I think at this point, going after people and telling them this is the truth and you're what you're believing is not true, there's just so much of a divide. They're not going to hear you. And they've made that choice by little choices. It's all about those little choices, those little intentions, and putting yourself on a path. And so I am seeing this big divide happening. Now, it's not saying that I want this big divide to happen. I'm not the one creating it. It's just my awareness. I'm aware of it. Um, I'm seeing it. And a part of me is like, no, we're all one. We need to stay together. And the other part of me is like, no, this is part of what needs to happen.
that
If
was hard
we
for
need
me.
to separate so that we can come back together, kind of like a codependent alcoholic relationship, you need to separate so that the healing can happen. And then if the healing happens, then to reunite. So I think the divide is necessary at this point. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that it's good that we can use our discernment. We can see it clearly, and then we can make decisions based on, is this what feels good to me? Is this where I want to stay? Or do I want to, separate myself for a time so I can work on my healing? Hopefully they'll do their healing and then we can come back together. If not, then I'm going to heal and continue to grow. So that's where I'm at. And I pulled some cards, and it's funny, the first one that I pulled, make a commitment. And I think this is speaking to make a commitment to ourselves, make a commitment to what I want to see in my life, not based on other people, not based on what's going on around me. Make a commitment to me. So I think that us coming back is, reconfirming, reaffirming our commitment to our growth. So I'm good about that. And then the next card was the person you're asking about is trustworthy, and the person we're talking about here is ourselves. We can trust ourselves, and that's the most important thing, is trust ourselves. And then let's see. I got another one. This is a different deck. And this is from my Rebel deck. I love this new deck I got. Don't believe every shitty thought that you have. Things can be sneaky. Thoughts can be sneaky lying bastards. So that's where I want to kind of like move into what I want to discuss today, which is our thoughts, and how we're creating our reality is based on our thoughts. Now, a lot of the thoughts that we're receiving are not our thoughts. They're not coming from us. We are beacons. We are antennas. We are little lighthouses that are open receivers, and we're getting a lot of negative messages that are not coming from us. And so what I do is I kind of turn myself into a pendulum, and I ask myself, is this coming from my head or my heart? Is this coming from fear or is this coming from love? Because if it's coming from fear, then it's an implanted thought that's being broadcast to me. If it's coming from love, then it's my true feeling. What do
It
you
says
say?
broadcast. I know you can't read writing, but it says thought forms are broadcast. So go ahead.
Yeah. So we don't have to, we can choose those thoughts that we want to follow. So when I get a thought that comes in into my head, I get to decide. And that person that's deciding, that's my true consciousness. That's my true I am who I am. That's the true me. Those thoughts that are coming in, I mean, really think about it. For anybody that's new to doing this, when you're doing meditation, people are like, oh, I can't get my thoughts to stop. And it's like, okay, but who are you that's wanting your thoughts to stop compared to the thoughts that are happening? See, our brain is a computer, it's a machine, it's not who we are. It's created to process information, to recycle information, to understand information. And if it can't process it, then it's going to keep repeating it until you're able to process it. But there's a difference between the processor and the process. So we need to differentiate between the two, our thoughts and ourselves. So
Yep.
that's something that that's been coming up a lot, because I know on a collective level, talking to other people, that there is a lot of fear being broadcast right now, a lot of anxiety on a huge level. I don't know if we're picking it up from the events that are happening, or if it's just a frequency that's being sent out currently. But there is a lot of anxiety, triggering energy that's coming at us right now, that I do not believe is coming from us. Personally, I don't. I've done my checklist of, what am I looking at? Is this coming from me? What's going on in my life? What, to know that this is not coming from me. This is coming from a place of, somewhere else. So it's either coming from a collective anxiety because of the events that are going on, or a frequency that's happening, or both. It could be both. But I think that it's definitely affecting people who are dealing with addictions, who are dealing with alcoholism, people who are dealing with all the isms, gambling, whatever their ism is. It's
Whatever.
triggering those. And the people that are dealing with these isms, and even me, because I deal with codependency, I deal with, my ism is people. My ism is trying to control and fix people, making myself better by, making you better. And it's not, so I feel that heightened right now, a lot. So I don't, and there's no source of that coming from me. So, and I've talked to other people, so I know that this is happening on a collective level. I know that this is happening on a widespread level. So what are some of the things that we can do to try to quell, or calm some of those feelings? And I think first is acknowledging, first doing an assessment to see, is this coming from me, or is this coming from a larger level? And then realizing and being grateful for the ability to feel these things, and then
Yeah.
saying, okay, why am I feeling this? There's a reason, not because it's coming from me, but because I am a transmuter. I am someone who is meant to heal this. And so what can I do to heal this? I can't process it through me because it's not coming from me. So that's generally what I do. When something's going on with me, I process it, I heal it, I do my shadow work, and I release it. But when it's not coming from me, what can I do? I can transmute it. So there's many different ways that we can transmute these things, whether it's just going and sit in the grass, put our hands out with some crystals in our hands, and take in the energy from the sun and channel it into the earth. Just be a channel. Putting on a violet flame meditation, envisioning violet light. I like to do a golden blue light around myself. These are some different things that we can do to transmute these energies. And I think that's why we're feeling them, is because we're meant to help heal them.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
I was feeling it too, so I tapped into it. I really did, and I channeled some information and downloaded information about it. So I have to be really careful, because the information that I get is directly from like divine, its source. So anyways, basically the anxiety that we're feeling on a global scale is archon energy, and it's been transmitted and broadcast out to us just like the thought forms. The energies broadcast, and then the thought forms are broadcast to anchor in the energy. This is what's coming through. Now, when they broadcast it, it's getting broadcast through our phones, through television, through the radio, through just open waves. It's coming in your Wi-Fi, you name it. It's always constant. Okay. Not only that, you can get thought forms from people because people will send you thought forms. But you're 100% correct on that. We're our third eye, and up here, this is our antenna for these thought forms. And our hairs are antenna for the energy that we receive. All right. That was a cool download I got too, or I learned that from somebody. I can't remember who. Sorry if you hear
My foot is tingling right now, trying to get me to say that we need to be grounded during this time, because we can have our third eye and our crown chakra is wide open, and it will drive us crazy if we are not grounding. So that is extremely important. With all of this stuff coming in, is channel it into the earth.
Yes,
Channel, because she's able to transmute way better than we can.
Exactly. And our body is transmuting that. So when you're feeling anxiety or you're feeling the emotion, that's your body transmuting or alchemizing it. So what we do, just like what you're saying, is to help with that and ground it. That's where we get outdoors, we get in water, and we ground it somehow, however we can, and anchor it into the ground. I water my tree, so that's how I get to ground and anchor it. Or I'll sit in meditation and just consciously ground and visualize myself, attaching my feet roots to Earth Star, and then coming back up and going out to the Soul Star, and just continuing the energy flow, because we can, if we're not used to carrying that energy, it can get backed up, and it feels very overwhelming. That's why we have panic attacks. If you're not grounding, it gets very extreme, and this is everyone. So this is also why we're seeing the uptick in people wanting psychiatric help, and a lot of times it's just, and this is where we come in with the suggestions. And are you grounding? Are you going to, be spontaneous with yourself, with your choices? Go to the mountains, go to the beach, follow your inner guidance.
When you don't even have to, like, if you can't, because a lot of people can't afford to go anywhere. So
Same.
go in your backyard. If you live in a city, go to a park. Go touch a tree. To have a tree, have a plant in your house, and you can ground that way. It doesn't have to be going somewhere. Now that's great. I love going to the beach. I love going, hiking. But right now it's been so hot that there's no way I could go hiking without passing out. So I spend a lot of time in the pool. I spend a lot of time in the backyard. But when I'm in the pool, I am using that water, as a huge way. A lot of people aren't in the pool right now because it is so hot. So it's kind of like a bathtub. But for me, it feels great because I'm used to sitting in the hot tub. But I will go in the pool and I will write my symbols on my hand, my Reiki symbols, I will form my energy ball. I will create this energy vortex that goes within the pool, goes within my town, my city, my state, the country, and then I just start expanding it out. And that's another way that we can take this anxious energy and transmute it and heal ourselves and heal others, is by, you don't have to be attuned. You can just draw a circle in your hand or just rub your hands together and then feel that energy ball that comes out, to do energy work. Some of us are attuned. Some of us have paid to become certified, but we all have this skill. Just like we're all psychic, we're all empath. We all have this ability to harness this energy. We're never taught how to. So just start with rubbing your hands together, pulling that energy out. When we were kids and we used to do that thing where you rub your hand, or somebody would hold your hand and then your hand would go numb and then go like this. You can feel that energy. Well, we need to start doing that. I'm getting chills all over my legs. We need to start growing this energy ball, sending that energy out, pulling that energy back, putting it on ourselves, putting it on the world, putting it on everyone around us. I do this a lot when I'm driving. I've talked about that before, just sending it to these, the 5G towers, to the electrical lines that are everywhere, because we can use if they're going to send the stuff to us, then it just shows us that we can send the stuff right back. So if we're worried about it coming through the TV, guess what? That TV is a conduit. It's a portal. And if they can send it to us, we can send it back. So the best way to defeat the dark is with the light. So if they're going to send us all these things that are going to send anxiety, let's send back love. Let's really,
That's so funny that you said that, because I'm in Southern California, and I was just gonna say we're getting into the weather there where you are, but we experienced Hillary, and we were like, we don't get hurricanes here, okay, ever, and so we're like,
and then the name of it is just too funny.
Everyone's panicked, everyone's sandbagging, and me and Joel are just like, it's gonna rain. Oh my God. Oh, let me just. We did nothing, and it was fine. I also sent white light energy into Hillary, and I'm not saying it had anything to do with it. I'm not saying it didn't. I'm just saying I sent white light energy into Hillary, and it was my intention that it wasn't going to harm anybody. And if anyone got in contact with it, it was going to help them ascend. That I literally sent that intention into Hillary. So we'll see what happens. And they get pissed off when you do that shit too. So,
Oh yeah, because they want that, with all of the, because we've got Hurricane Idalia or whatever.
I know I've been sending white light energy to
Yeah,
that.
it's going on right now. And so everybody, I remember growing up in Florida, tuning into the Weather Channel and watching the news and, watching all this stuff. Of course, we find out that the newscaster gets arrested the year late. This is a few years ago. We're watching this newscaster gets arrested for doing uncomfortable things with young people. So we're not gonna name names, but so we're all watching these things, these people that are just sick. They want us to watch this distraction, this program, get all up in the fear, and and so we can create this monster of a storm that is just fed on people's energy. And so what can we do? We can send love and light to it. Send good intentions, set those intentions to heal anybody that it comes in contact with, that it will bring about their highest timeline. That just because someone loses a vehicle, just because someone loses their home, maybe that starts a change in their life to where it moves them to a better place. Maybe it starts a change in their life to where they get a vehicle that actually works better for them. So we can set those intentions that even if something that appears bad happens, that it sparks a ball rolling for something good. So it may look bad on the outside right now, but let's turn it into something good, and we can set those.
That's what drives me crazy about the doom preachers, the doom and gloom preachers. I've always been like, that's just not the way. That's, to me, that's helping the darkness. That's not even helping the light. It's like, yeah, bad things are going to happen, but that doesn't mean that it stays bad. It doesn't mean it wasn't for no reason. That doesn't mean that person's not going to be like Job in the Bible and get like 10 times better. We sacrifice, we go through initiation in our lifetimes. We deal with trauma, we deal with things because we know that things are good. I don't know how to put this, but in the future, it's better than it's ever going to be. We haven't had our best day yet. We have not had our best day yet. And once you understand that, it's such a better, it's not that you're changing your mindset to love and light because you're still authentic and you still can be negative or perceived as negative, or a positive person can be perceived as a villain.
Yeah, my husband says this to me all the time. He was like, for somebody so spiritual, you're so negative all the time. And it's like, no. I'm not negative. I'm living in reality. When I feel an emotion, I go through it. I don't just put on this fake positivity. And that is the difference. Positivity doesn't mean being fake all the time and putting on a happy face when you're not happy. If you're not happy, don't be happy. Don't pretend to be happy. That's where we fall into these traps by thinking I have to be happy all the time. I have to show the world that I'm happy all the time. If you're a busted up mess, then be a busted up mess. If if you need to cry, then cry. If you need to scream, then scream. Just don't do it at someone so you don't create more karma for yourself. Getting some flies in the house. But do your work in a safe environment, in a safe space. Don't deny that you need to do it. I'm not a happy person all the time. I get angry, I get sad, I get depressed, but I don't stay in those things for long. I process them and then I move on. There's a difference. See, people that don't deal with their issues, they see you hurting and they think you're going to be hurting forever. They don't understand that you're going to be hurting for 10 minutes
I
and
feel
then
you.
you're going to be fine 10 minutes later. I mean, sometimes it's more than 10 minutes. Sometimes it's, 10 weeks. If somebody passes away that you love, of course you're not going to be over it in 10 minutes. You know what I mean? There's no time frame on healing. But the difference is between someone who processes their feelings and heals is that they're not going to stay there. So facing an emotion isn't scary for us. It's necessary. But for someone who doesn't deal with things, any kind of emotion other than anger or positivity is unacceptable. You have to be toxically um, positive all the time, or it's okay to be angry. Those are the two um, emotions that are acceptable for, from my experience, for people who are not dealing with their emotions. I'm
Exactly.
not saying everyone because everyone's different, but from my experience, in my relationships, it's okay to be positive all the time, or it's okay to be angry. But it's not okay for me to be angry. It's okay for them to be angry. If I'm angry, then I'm the crazy bitch.
Somebody's got a fucking problem with it. It's like, you know, BPD. I'm just going to go into this for a second. Borderline personality disorder. I feel everything so intensely, and you've even experienced where you had to hold space for me where I'm literally just freaking out of my mind. And it's like, for me, I've compared it to a seizure. The only difference to a seizure to me when I'm in a BPD episode is the person that's having a seizure is unable to speak. And it's the same thing. I have literally neurons firing off and going crazy in my brain, and it's uncontrollable. I can't control it. I literally just have to experience it, and then let it go and not judge myself and understand that that's not who I am. That's just something that I'm experiencing. And so if anyone out there has BPD, ADHD, where you're having meltdowns or whatever, I under fucking stand, it's not a bad thing. Stop looking at it like it's bad. You are
Yeah.
expressing, transmuting. You are a master alchemizer. You are transmuting some heavy shit on a major, you don't even know how many levels.
Yeah.
Like I transmute this shit and then it's
Well,
gone.
exactly. I tell my husband all the time because he's like, do you want to trade positions? You can go to work for me and I'll stay home and do what you do. I said, you can't do what I do.
And do what I
You have no
do.
idea how to do what I do. You have none, because I process the energies of everyone around me. I'm doing the things that the people around me don't want to do. And it's not because I want to, it's because I just naturally am picking up these energies.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it would be ideal to be around people who are healthy and healing all the time, but that's just not my reality right now. Is that a goal? Yeah, that would be wonderful to be in this, utopian society where everyone deals with their shit and they heal all their stuff. And that would be great. That's what I hope will happen one day. But that's just not where I'm at right now. I'm married to someone who does not deal with anything and chooses escaping through any means necessary. And then he comes home and says, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm happy." And I get to feel what his real feelings are, because what comes out of his mouth are not real. What what he's feeling, I feel. And then I get to transmute it, and I can't transmute it all because it's not coming from me. But when I turn it into it's coming on a collective level, then I feel like, I'm not just doing it in a selfish way because I want my husband to change. I'm not trying to control what he does. I'm saying that I'm changing how I'm feeling about alcohol, about drugs, about other things. I'm changing how I'm feeling about them, and I'm trying to assist on a larger level, on a collective level, because that is where I have my power. When it comes to him, I have no control. I cannot make him do anything because he's made it very clear that he's happy doing what he wants to do. Now, you know, if God opens the door for me and there's an opportunity for me to find a better situation, then I'm going to take it. You know what I mean? If that happens, but not to get too personal. Um, but
Understand.
how can we not be personal? We're talking about, our spirituality. That's the most personal thing that we have is
That's
our
kind of
connection with source.
that's what it's made it very difficult for me, because a lot of times when I do readings and I pick up on energy, of course, if I'm having extremely powerful energies, it's going to come out in my readings no matter how much I clear. And so I haven't, because I've been dealing with stuff. But in my situation, what I had to do was I got to a point in my relationship that I had to be willing to lose everything. And then I told him that I wanted a divorce because I didn't know how else to deal with it and I couldn't change him. I spent the last few years trying to change him, trying to see who I am for reals, how to love me, how to see me, how to talk to me, how to do everything. Didn't see anything, not interested, didn't want to put in the effort until I told him I wanted a divorce. And I was willing to back myself up and accept the consequences no matter what they were. It was pretty fucking scary for me. I really didn't know if I was going to end up on the street. I didn't know if he was going to hurt himself. I didn't know what was going to happen, because we found out later that he has BPD as well. So
That's
we
so
both
funny.
have BPD, really.
Sorry,
Yeah.
you're not funny. My cards are funny. What they said. Sorry.
Oh, no, fine. No, you're fine. Oh, yeah. Stop fucking whining. Yeah, exactly. But it's true though. And I'm like, what in the hell is
As if
going
you
on?
need some fucking yoga in your life.
I do though. I do need it. But
And then it says you are going through some serious, some tough shit.
well, thank you for acknowledging my feelings after all of that. Jesus, Spirit. Jesus, criminy. Anyway,
Sorry,
so
I
with
didn't. That's why I was laughing. Sorry, not at
no,
you. Just at the
fine, you're
story.
fine. But it's like, it really was like I had to get to that point and stand up for myself and live in my authenticity and understand that I wasn't able to be myself around him. And so now I don't really care. I'm live and he was outside working on a car. He was in the house. He knows I'm live. I don't care anymore. I'm past it. I'm past it, because what happened with me was, once I hit that point and I told him that I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I don't know what to do. It's got to stop here. And I wanted a divorce. He decided that he was going to go to therapy and try to better himself. And this is how we started, like, now he's on a spiritual path, where he's dealing with his shit. And it's really awesome to see that I'm helping him do all that. And everything. I'm helping him like he's my friend, like he's my best friend. I'm doing it with no attachment, that I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm not sure if we're going to be together or not. I'm not sure if he's the divine masculine in my life. I don't know. And this is where I've been headed, because I need to find out, because I also have this issue with favorite person syndrome. Now, favorite person is a BPD thing where I can pick one person and just, they're like my favorite person. I idolize that person and I put all of my energy into that person and I have attachments to that person, and it's really confusing. So I just, like, where I'm at, I'm trying to take time, because I want to make sure that the future is for the betterment of everyone involved. It's not about me being right or the villain. It's not about him being the villain and being this horrible person because he made some horrible choices, like I have made horrible choices too. So what? Not judging him, letting him follow his dreams, because he's never been able to do that shit, and just building each other up, like trying to be his friend. And if there's another female for him, then I hope that happens, because he deserves to have that connection and that closeness and to feel like fulfilled. He deserves that. I deserve that. If we're not the same, if I'm not that for him and he's not that for me, then I hope that we have that for each other. Like, if it's someone else, it's someone else. I'm not judging. And I feel like I'm hoping that other people will understand my point of view by not making him the villain. He's not making me the villain. We have kids involved. We're trying to do the best for who everything, like what is the best that we could do without harming our children and causing major trauma, and that's working together as a team. And I felt that needs to be said. So no matter like he might have a job elsewhere, and I'm not sure if I'm going or not. It's yet to be seen. But I was willing to go there and start there because it's a different place, a better place. Because where I'm at, I'm not really happy where I'm at here in this location. Like I feel like my time is up here in this location.
Yeah, I feel like energetically, it's
I've
time for
wanted
you
to
to go.
I originally moved out of here in 2004, and I was in South Dakota for 10 years, and then came back, and I'm basically on 10 years back here. So it's like I want to go elsewhere. I like moving around, and I like being in different places. So it's not that, it's not really, I don't know. I just like being flighty. I've always been able to go different places and do stuff.
Yeah, see, I'm that same way. I wanna go. When I first woke up, I started getting like these feelings of like I need to get an RV. I need to go travel the world. I need to, not the world in the RV, but travel my area. And of course, my husband's like, absolutely not. We're not selling the house, doing that. Like you're crazy. You've lost your mind. And if something were to happen to him, that would be my first goal. Not to say that I want that, but if we were to split up, I definitely would want to
That
explore
I've
some things.
absolutely. Even if
But I
it's with,
think it's good to have him grounding me a little bit, but to the
that is the
extreme.
masculine duty. It is the
Yeah.
masculine's not duty. I hate to put it like that, but it literally is the masculine's energy that helps us ground. Like we are up here all the
Yeah.
time. Females, we're meant to be up here all the time. They're down here in the, sorry, you can't see, but the lower
Yeah.
shot.
I know.
They're
Well, it's like I'm ready to meet in the middle. You know what I mean? I'm ready to meet in the middle because I'm like, okay, I'm doing all of my energy work. I'm working on trying, now I'm really focusing on
middle.
those lower chakras and starting to heal those, because I have spent many, 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 many years up in the higher chakras wanting to feel that high, wanting to feel that connection, wanting to feel that source energy and that having my gifts on and all of that, and trying to live from the heart. And I have neglected my lower chakras, thinking that they're the base energies and the human energies. Is like, but I am human. I need to go back there and start working my way through. And maybe we're meant to start at the top and work our way down, or work our way down, whatever. Some people believe you got to do the kundalini and go up. I personally think maybe it's just different for each person. But I've definitely started at the top, and now I'm working my way down. So right now I'm definitely focusing on the yellow. So where I'm at today is because I think as women we feel that we're powerless. We feel like we don't have that, that power and that creativity, and those, we've been like put down, for all of our gifts. So I think, working on that, building our confidence, building our power, of course we have the sexuality, but we've been shamed for it. So that to me is like, confidence, power, and sexuality are the things in women that we are taught to be ashamed of. So it's kind of the opposite. It's okay for men to be sexual, it's okay for men to be powerful, it's okay for men to be confident. But on the opposite end, it's okay for women to be loving and all ethereal and connected to God. And so we need to come together, we need to meet in the middle and to be both of those things. And I think that's where I'm at right now, is just coming to terms with my masculine energy, and loving that side of myself, because it's so hard, especially when there's alcohol involved with my masculine role models in my life, because that's an obstacle, and I'm really having to work on forgiving alcohol in itself, because I look at it so negatively and what it's done to the people around me. So that's my goal right now, is to work on finding my power. Um, because for a lot of years I did go to a lot of meetings and say I am powerless, and I was giving my power away to alcohol and alcoholism. And not saying that that doesn't work for some people, but for me personally, that was giving my power to something outside of myself. And so now I'm really working on coming to terms with alcohol and power. And yeah, it's a mess right now.
It's important to work, like, see, for me, like, yeah, I could see that if I was stopped on the first step, but I worked all 12. So I don't, yeah, I was, at first I was powerless. When I walked into the doors of Alcoholics Anonymous and I got sober, I was fucking powerless. I was fucking powerless. I had no power over shit. I couldn't stay sober. I couldn't make good decisions for nothing. All I knew how to do was sell my body and go steal from people.
Yeah.
That's it. I was fucking powerless. Now I work the steps though, see? So
Yeah.
I
And see,
became,
that's where that's,
yeah,
and I have too. But when you get
I
to the
never
top
stopped.
of the steps, it's like, okay, then you got
That's
to go
just
back to the beginning again. And I'm like, I'm not going to sit in this cycle of repeating. Yes, it's meant to help people that are new coming in, but that's just not my path.
yeah,
I mean,
and there's people there that are there for those people to continue and work with, but other people like you and I, we were meant to get sober and go live our lives.
yeah.
We weren't meant to stay in AA, and I stayed sober. I'm still off meth. I've never relapsed. I've never stuck another needle in my arm. I'm not
Well,
interested.
and the difference for me is that I may or may not have been an alcoholic before I started, because I went into the program when I was 22. So my family thought I had an issue. Really, my issue was that I didn't want to be around my family, and
I
they
had
were the
trauma.
alcoholics, and I was the codependent. And so I was trying to keep up with them and not able to. And they saw that as someone who's an alcoholic. So I went to meetings, did all of my steps. Multiple times I did steps, but I never could. Even when I read the big book and I always saw someone else when they were talking. I would always think, oh, he's the actor running the show and all this, and I'm thinking of my ex-boyfriend, or I'm thinking, I was always thinking this relates to that person, that. And so I'm sitting here doing the steps for other people. And then I realized, okay, I'm definitely a codependent here. So I worked the steps and then realized that I'm not really an alcoholic. I'm definitely someone who is very codependent, who
And
is,
that's the Al-Anon.
trying to heal myself by healing other people. And that it just doesn't work. you
Yep,
know,
that's Al-Anon though. It's kind of funny because that is what Al-Anon is for. Al-Anon is
yeah.
for family members of alcoholics. So because you were raised by alcoholics per se, because I don't know, you have experienced what Al-Anons have, and it's 100% codependency and putting other people before yourself. And it's the narcissism. It's that director is a narcissist. He's telling everybody what to do in order to make me happy, when it's actually my job to make me happy, not anyone else's.
Yeah.
And that's what the steps help us do. But like you said, we were just not meant to be in that program working the steps over and over, because
Yeah, for me, I needed something more. When
that's
it
not how
got
I
to a
was
certain
taught.
level, I needed to grow my spirituality, because it can spark a spiritual awakening. But then
Supposed
after
to.
that happens, I'm not going back to the beginning and doing the exact same thing,
That's
because
how I
once that
was taught.
happens,
How
you
are
have
you
to
guys
grow in
doing?
a different way.
That's
Sorry.
weird because here, no, I'm not trying to talk over you, but that's weird because here, like, that's how I was taught. Like, you work the steps and then you do the maintenance steps. 10, 11, 12 are the maintenance steps. It's basically 1 through 9,
Mhm.
combined, because we no longer are powerless. We already have taken action. We have already had step 12, having had a
Yeah.
a spiritual awakening as a result of working the 12 steps. We don't go back to step 1 again because we have empowered ourselves through the steps already. So I don't
Yeah.
understand. That doesn't make sense to me why we would be stuck. I see what you're saying now, and that makes a lot of sense. But for me, it wasn't like that. For me, I stopped going. I just followed my inner intuition, and I didn't ever want to use again.
Well, I
And
think for me, being an empath and being in that room, once you get to the point where you're healing, where you're no longer in that, someone that comes in that's brand new, you're picking up their energy and you're reliving it. it literally, you're feeling what they're feeling. And for me, that's extremely unhealthy. So
Yeah,
it
well,
was not it became an unsafe place for me because then I became helping people, or I started helping people because I didn't want to feel the way that I was feeling anymore, because I was feeling how they were feeling. And so I became enmeshed with how they were feeling, and then wanting to fix their problems for them. So I was like a great codependent, thinking they were an alcoholic, trying to heal all the people around me. Yeah, it was very toxic.
I was literally just thinking earlier about the girl. I was a pretty girl sponsor. I had all the pretty girls. And so these girls, they were all really pretty. And that's
You got to deal with all the 13 steppers. That's fun.
That's the problem. I was like, okay, my rule was don't.
Give me 1 sec. I gotta go open the garage because Chelsea's bus is gonna be here in a minute.
Okay, I'll still talk, but I was like, just don't have sex with people. Just don't have sex with them. Just don't. And then it got to the point where, okay, can you just call me before you do? How about, can you just call me before you do?
Well,
because it was like that. It was literally like that. I couldn't, you're right. I couldn't control them. It's not my job to fix people.
Yeah. What's funny, the last time I went, I decided that I wanted to go back to AA. I was drinking a little bit, but it wasn't to the point where it was anything that, it was just a couple of nights. And I decided, okay, oh no, I remember what happened. Okay, no, I had broke up with a boyfriend. I was lonely. Or he broke up with me. I was lonely, and I thought to myself, I know where I can find a boyfriend. And I literally was like, I'll find an alcoholic boyfriend. Like, that's how sick of a, in my mind, like, of codependency I was. Like, I just was like, I'm going to go to AA, and there's lots of people there, and I'll meet someone. And that was my goal. And like, even my sponsor was like, your issue isn't alcohol. Your issue is your relationships. So, I stayed sober for a year, and I didn't stay away from the boys because my goal in going there was to get in a relationship. So, of course, when you're going to after a bunch of alcoholics that are trying to stay sober, they're not going to treat you with respect. So I didn't get that. I didn't get any respect. I got treated like I was, well, what they call the girls is mattresses, because they just jump from one to the next. And that's how I got treated. And I was putting myself in that situation to be treated that way because I was lonely, and then I sacrificed. And then I think it was after a year of sobriety, which for me, it's easy to stay sober because I'm not an alcoholic. So I would just go for years and and go to these meetings, and, because the steps apply to everybody. So I can still heal in that way, but I wasn't healing the right thing. I was healing my alcoholism, which I didn't have. I was not facing the fact that I needed to heal these relationships, heal my situation with relationships. So after a year of being sober and doing the steps and stuff, I got into a relationship that now I'm married to an alcoholic. And when we first got together, he didn't drink he hid it from me. I had no idea that he was an alcoholic. He did a really good job of hiding it from me. I thought if I got out of the, AA and started dating somebody that was outside of there, that it would be better. And it turns out that we attract what we attract if we don't heal it. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I'm definitely learning about codependency and healing that. So like I said, we create our reality. I've created this mess, and now it's a matter of finding a way out of it. Hey, but at least I'm a good sport, right?
Yeah, we do. But it's so weird because in my first marriage, I was the breadwinner and I did everything. And that person was in AA too. Like, my first marriage was like, it was so weird because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I literally got out of treatment. I was unfortunately sexually assaulted. And then I moved away from there because of that. And then I had a boyfriend that sexually assaulted me. And I'm like, why is this happening to me over and over? Like, I am making really horrible choices. Like, it was really just making really bad choices. I was still punishing myself too.
Yeah.
See, the problem with it was I had literal trauma that I had no idea I had. I disassociated from my trauma so well that I literally thought it happened to someone else. That's how good it was in my brain. Like, I literally, it happened to someone else. It wasn't me. I don't have to look at that. And then after my
I've compartmentalized as well, where I see myself as separate from myself. And I know that it's me, but I don't have the attachment with the feelings. I can detach from the emotions of it so that I can, like, so that's how I've dealt with it, or not dealt with, that's how I've lived with it, is by just seeing it as something separate from myself. But I think that was kind of what I had to do over the summer, was go there and face it and forgive myself and forgive them and forgive the whole situation, and actually be in that place where it happened, so that I could see it again and face it, put myself there, you know what I mean? And kind of connect those dots, because it is in that disassociating that we make it impossible for us to heal it.
It's true. So, yeah, mine didn't really come out until after my dad passed away. When my dad passed away, it kind of hit me, and it literally has so many feelings that it overwhelmed my system. I don't know how else to put it, but it made everything come out that I had been stuffing my whole life, and I didn't know what to do with it. So at that point, I tried to reach out to psychological help, but I was still at the point where I could still do it. I was still, oh, I don't need it. I'll be all right. I can just toughen myself. I'm a tough person. I'm strong. I'll just handle it. I'll be all right, and I carried that. And then my mom died, and I still didn't get help. I still didn't get grief counseling. I didn't try to help myself. I didn't make myself a priority. I ran from it. I tried to stuff it. I tried to just handle it. I was like, well, I didn't really have a good example, because the people around me, I found out, didn't really have my best interests. And when I found that out, it's been a very painful process there too. So unfortunately, I had to come to terms with the people that were immediately around me after my parents passed away did not have my best interest, and they've really did a number to my relationship. They had a part to play in all of it, unfortunately, because certain people, my husband, it was my husband's family, they played a part. They played a part in all of this, and in how everything is turning out. But anyways, I had all of that, because why are you? Like, anyways, of course you called it and it distracted me.
It was meant to be.
Yeah, but I didn't even get help until freaking like February of this year. It got to the point where I was literally like ready to hurt myself. I was literally having breakdowns, or an awakening, however you want to look at it. Because it is ultimately awakening. It is your enlightenment happening. It's spiritual awakening happening. When you get to the point where you're confused, you feel lost, and you don't know like what to do. He had to text me.
I thought he was outside.
No, I guess they left. He had to run errands, so they left. But now I'm like, why are you calling me and texting me if I'm live, jerk?
Trying to get your attention. Hush. What? Is there somebody out there? What are you barking at? You need to go outside? I'm not letting you out if you're barking at somebody. I think the dog saw somebody or something.
Huffy. She's all huffy. I know mine gets all huffy too. He gets all huffy when people are around me. But anyways, yeah, we covered a lot of subjects.
I know we usually do. We're all over the place, but I just wanted to, because we did bring up quite a bit of dense kind of stuff there at the end. don't want to end if we could just do a little clearing session, a little healing session real quick. Stop, dogs, because I think they're picking it up. But just to not leave our viewers with all of our, minutia, but just to clear that away. And
I'll do real quick too, because I drew some good.
Golden light with blue. I always like to. It's like gold on the outside. It's like a blue iridescent. I don't know how to explain it. There's no words, but just a blue and gold light, just clearing away, washing away all of those dense energies and feelings. No, and then I'm gonna cut it off. We'll wash that away.
It's true.
Yeah, so it's important to go through a lot of these things, look at them, but then also to make sure that we're clearing that energy too, not staying stuck in it. So I know for me, I can bring up those things, but there are still feelings attached to them, and so for that shows me, there's things I need to look at there that are not done. But just I don't want to leave everybody with big holding my breath.
It's all good too, because we want everyone to just have positive energy when they leave. Exactly. But it was so amazing because these two cards came out, the King and Queen of Wands. So whatever. What came to mind when these come out was this is actually our divine and our divine energies, our divine masculine and our divine feminine energies. Right now inside of all of us is we're balancing that energy, and we're being guided to trust right now because things are falling apart. The matrix is falling apart. Our lives are going to change whether we want them to or not, because everything is shifting.
I think we just need to be open to our highest timeline, whatever that looks like.
Exactly. So we need to let go of everything, this suppression. This is exactly what we were talking about too, just not expressing what's inside of us. It has to come out. If it doesn't come out, it happens in a thunderbolt or a tower moment or whatever you want to look at, a life check. It's going to happen one way or the other. But trust, because we're healing, This is what we're doing overall, is we're healing. We're healing on a collective basis. Oh yeah,
and
fire.
Healing looks different for everybody.
Fires around the world. I was going to touch on that because Gaia. I tapped into Gaia a little bit because there's fires all over the world. It's not just in one place. It's all over. So I was tapping into that, and that is a literal transmutation. It's literally transmuting. It looks like a physical transmutation. And that's what we feel, that anxiety, that is a physical manifestation of the anxiety that we're feeling. Yeah. And it's cleansing us. So even though it may or may not be manipulated, I'll just say that. But regardless,
it's still a projection because it's outside of us. It's still a projection of what's happening inside of us, regardless of who started the fire. It doesn't matter, because whether it started by just being too hot and something sparking, or someone actually sparking it doesn't matter. What's happening inside of us, we didn't create all of that chaos. So it could be a spark that came naturally, or it could be a spark that somebody else sparked inside of us. And we still have to deal with it because we have to take responsibility. And so regardless of who started it, it's still happening. So what we talked about this the other day, that it's happening on the inside, and now we're seeing it on the outside. So yeah.
I was just saying, because we didn't start the fire.
Yeah, I was singing that.
The world's been turning. That came to mind when you said that, because it's true. We didn't.
Look up that song too, because it's got a lot of hidden gems in it. A little Easter, or a bunch of Easter eggs. If you know what I'm saying.
In there for research purposes, if anyone's interested. But yeah, so what's happening with that is it's cleansing. It is cleansing. It is a cleansing. It is going to be used for the good. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Negative, we can look at it like negative or positive. It's just polarity, it's perception, it's how you look at it. But no matter what, it's for the betterment of the entire planet. Just understand that it's for the best interest of all of us on this planet, ultimately. And that we need to set that intention, because otherwise it's in vain. It's in vain. Why would people die in vain? I'd much rather have an intention that it's for the best case scenario, no matter what. No matter what, it's for the best for all of us. You know? I'm in. I think I'm done.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think on that note, we're pretty much ready to wrap up. So it sounds good.
All right, you guys. Thanks for tuning in if you did. And I love you guys. And we'll see you next
Yeah,
time.
I love you guys. Thank you for being here while we process some things and talk about some awesome things. And we will see you next time. We'll be back again sooner next time. There won't be so much of a break in between.
Not so, yeah, exactly. Bye, guys.